The good news, Hurricane Beryl has weakened. The bad news, not enough. It's still as strong as Gilbert was, and Gilbert devastated Jamaica back in 1988. And that's exactly where it's headed for today.
You're in the mix with DJ Slick.
Anything but Monday.
It's serious. How Japa sleep, tell them to wake up.
This hurricane is intensifying. It is very warm on the seas, and the warm temperatures are facilitating, engendering an intensification of this major hurricane. We have to be concerned, first of all, about our life and our limb and our property. I want to repeat, we have to be concerned about our life, our limbs, our property. And naturally, everybody who is listening to me will know that is the most important order. You have to be concerned about your life and limb, and you have to be concerned about your property. Accordingly, and given the serious nature of this hurricane, I'm advising everyone to be where they are supposed to be. You have to be off the road. You must be off the road. There are instructions to the police to enforce this.
An island-wide curfew will be in effect between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, the 3rd of July, 2024. This is to ensure the safety of everyone during the passage of the storm and prevent any movement with the intent to carry out criminal activity.
I'm meteorologist Todd Gross. It is July 3rd. I'll take a look at Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and the Yucatan Peninsula. Let's hit the charts. So on this satellite photograph, this is a depiction of the storm. This is the eye right there. Jamaica is located right here on the left-hand side of your screen. It's moving directly for the south coast of Jamaica. That's not good because the strongest is just on the north side of the eye right here. That puts that right into Jamaica later today, starting late this morning. Even by noontime, you'll already start feeling the effects of the storm. And then this afternoon, you'll get the worst of the storm. Now, while I'm most concerned about the eastern tip of Jamaica, and also right here, this bay that's around Lionel Town, that the water is going to come right in there. You have a 6 to 9 foot storm surge at least coming in right here as the storm passes just to the south of that peninsula. So that's the worst, but the entire island will be affected. In terms of the wind, you will be somewhat protected in Kingston by the Blue Mountains to the east because the wind will be coming out of the east for most of the storm. And it does appear to me that you will have some protection from the wind from the mountains. But other than that, in terms of the storm surge, that's not looking good. That looks like it'll be very, very significant. There'll be heavy rains also in those mountains, so there'll be flooding coming out of the mountains, and there'll be other places that get flooded as well. The other good news is it's moving very, very fast. It will be a brief storm, but it will be a devastating hit because the speed of the storm is also going to be keeping it very strong on the north side. It's a little hard to explain, but when a storm is blowing by very quickly like that, it does tend to hit you harder than when it's just lumbering along. So it will be a hard, quick hit, then it will get out of here tonight. That is Wednesday night.
Hurricane, still a Category 4 hurricane along the island of Jamaica. Landfall was in question, Dr. Nav. Looks like it's staying just to the south, but as you pointed out yesterday, this does not mean that the island of Jamaica by any means escapes bad impacts.
No, not at all. And even though it doesn't look like Kingston is experiencing the eye wall, they are getting the stronger side of the hurricane, and over the last hour or so, I think it made its closest pass to Kingston, the center of the eye. And up in here in Kingston, now you are really getting southerly flow, and you will for quite some time. So that could really lengthen the duration of the southerly winds that could amp up the storm surge in waves that we haven't seen any imagery of. And that could be one of the biggest impacts there in Kingston. And the rainfall, too, is going to be adding up. And the airport is still reporting gusts to 81 miles an hour. And mountainous areas in the vicinity could be gusting a lot higher than that. So we're only able to piece together what's happening there. And they're not getting as bad as they could have, but it's still pretty bad in Kingston.
Right, and we don't know what's happening farther to the south. You've mentioned some of these communities farther south where they've taken a closer pass of the eye. And then we've got the onshore flow coming into this bay. This could be a really hard hit spot.
This could be some of the worst storm surge because of that very tight concave shape to the bay, and it's not as populated as Kingston. If Kingston was here, oh my, that would be terrible for Kingston. But we have, Port Harbor and Clarendon in this area. They're not right along the southern part of this bay, but the inhabited areas, the communities start at the northern end of this bay and go westward. They could be getting the eye wall.
And here we go with Montego Bay now gusting to 55 miles an hour. So things amping up on that part of the island where a lot of the resorts are.
Yeah, and what we don't have is observations at all kinds of other places where the terrain could be enhancing the wind speeds that could be a lot stronger than what we're seeing here. And these areas here west of Kingston and going out toward Negril and Montego Bay, there's roads and communities along this whole stretch, and that whole stretch could get raked by the eye wall.
Yeah, so this is a tough go for the island of Jamaica. I don't want people to get so caught up on where exactly the eye wall went, and no landfall does not mean no impacts. We've got Cayman Islands now. They're going to be a little farther north of the eye wall, but this is an island that, is of lower elevation. What are you most concerned about here in the short term for the Cayman Islands? I'm
concerned about storm surge and power outages. Because even if you don't get...
Yo, fellas. Ouch. Holy shit. Whoa! Yo! Yo, shit, bro. Really just lose them rope.
I am encouraging all Jamaicans to take the hurricane as a serious threat. It is, however, not a time for panic. It is a time for us to be very strategic and calculated in our approach. We have 48 hours in which to prepare. Within that 48 hours, a lot could change. But we are taking this precautionary stance now because it is easier to be prepared when you're standing on your 2 feet than when you are in the midst of a hurricane struck down. So we're being, not overly cautious, not in a panic mode, but we are being very strategic in our response, and we want to convey that to the general public. You have enough time, enough notice to take the necessary precautions.